I believe I am live. Hi everyone. I have a bit of a cough. I didn't really think this through when I decided to do this, but you know what, I'm not always the wisest person, so yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry that the lighting is a little blue as well. I don't know what to do about that. But I decided that I'm going to go over what I'm planning on reading for the next couple weeks. Oh wait, Chris, I think I need your help. Reading the comments. Wait. Unless I can just pull it up on here and just have it open as another page. I'll just have to do that. This is why I don't like this one. Wait. What?
What's wrong?
Oh, just reading the comments. I just don't like this as much. So I'll just pull it up over here and hopefully that's okay. Christopher set this all up for me because he's the best ever. Hi Diana. Hi Libby. Yeah. Good idea. My husband says so. Hi guys. Oh dear. And we're in the office, but it's a lot cooler here right now, so hopefully it doesn't crash this time. There's always the possibility though. Anyway, I figured I'd go over with you what I've been reading. Hopefully this isn't totally messing everything up. It's made it a little bit smaller, but blame Christopher, it was his idea. Anyway. Point being that I figured I'd go over what I'm reading. That was the whole point of all that. Anyway, hello. I have a bit of a cough right now. But, yeah, I wanted to plan my reading, and I did that in the car a little bit today. I was in like a 6-hour car ride today. So I planned it in the car, and I figured I would go over all the books that I plan on reading for both, well, a few of the autumn readathons that are happening very soon. So the Spookathon, and then the autumn readathon, and my TBRs for them. I don't know if anyone else is participating in them, but I think they both sound lovely, and I'm just really excited about them, so I wish I had something to like type this up and be like, here's a list of books, but I'm gonna make a shelf on my thing, on my Goodreads that says that what books it is. You're doing Spookathon. Good, you'll have to tell me your TBR for that. I struggled quite a bit with it, but figuring it out, but it's okay. We'll make it work. Are you doubling up any books? Because I'm doubling up a lot of books. Okay, so I'm going to add a shelf, and I'm going to put a bunch of zeros in it, so it's the very first shelf on there. And then I'm going to name it, I guess, I don't know, autumn readathons? Or, I don't know, October readathons? Readathons. And this is my new shelf. The autumn readathon is, it's basically Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings hit 30,000 subscribers, so she's doing an autumn readathon for it because she loves autumn, and that's basically what it is. It has 6 well, they're not really challenges, they're prompts. So, like, you can hit them all if you want to, and if you want to try to read a lot, but if you don't, then that's really fine. It's a very chill readathon, and it's just supposed to feel, like, warm and cozy and stuff. And so, her prompts I'll go through, but there's, like, 4 main prompts, and then 2, like, bonus prompts. I was struggling picking stuff out because they overlap by a day. It starts on the 22nd, which is the same day as the Spookathon ending. So, anyway. You're going to put it up on Instagram. Awesome. Am I following you on Instagram? If not, I'll have to do that. Although I'm very bad about checking Instagram, so I probably wouldn't do much. You can't hear anything. Wait, no, now you can hear something. Oh no, okay. And then one of your books is for 2 challenges. I hope you can hear me now, Lizzie. But one of your books is for 2 challenges. I'm doubling up quite a few books for at least the first one. So basically, on my shelf right now, what I'm currently reading, all these other books I haven't picked up in a while because I got in a massive slump, but the only book I'm currently actually working on is technically Daniel Deronda. I also really want to work on From Here to Eternity, but I just need time to sit down and read that. Okay, you can hear me, good. I don't know if you'll want to, my voice, I've been sick all weekend, but From Here to Eternity I really do want to pick up and get back to. But anyway, Daniel Deronda is the only one I'm currently working on. It's like very big, it's 800 pages, and I'm technically supposed to have it done by the 19th. So I basically have 3 more days of reading. I can read on the 16th, 17th, 18th, and then a little bit on the 19th, and then I can't read any more after that. It is the 19th, right, that I need to have it done by, right? Yeah. Because then my sisters and I are having our discussion for it, so I'm going to read as much as I can of that book. I probably won't finish it, but that is what's supposed to happen. Oh, you're waiting for From Here to Eternity to get from the library. It's really good from what I've read so far, and I just love Caitlin so much. I hope you enjoy it as much as I am right now, and I'm sure I'll have it done at some point. I just want to savor it, and I'm kind of afraid to read it because then it will be over and then I'll cry, but I would really like to have it done by the end of October. Yeah, I got it on audio, and I have the physical book too because I love Caitlin and I want to support her as much as possible. Anyway, so Daniel Deronda I'm going to read for a few days, but it doesn't count for any of the challenges because the challenges are for the Spookathon, which is when I'll be reading it, is a thriller, a spooky word in the title, childhood fear, orange on the cover, and spooky setting. Technically this book would count for a childhood fear a little bit because I did watch this movie when I was younger and I didn't like it, and like parts of it creeped me out, and I still like very vividly like remember parts of the movie that I really didn't enjoy. So it's not necessarily a fear, but a childhood dislike and a childhood Technically it could count, but it doesn't really count for any of them. Orange on the cover and then a spooky setting. I guess I could make it work for orange on the cover as well because there are like 8 million editions of this. Not 8 million, just 250 editions. And I'm sure one of them has orange on the cover. Somewhere. Maybe not. Oh look, that one has orange on the cover. Boom. So technically I could make it work, but the edition that I have is pink. Plus technically the edition that I have is a digital edition, so it's really not any. But anyway, I'm going to move that, I think I already did, but to October Readathons because it's just what I'm reading right now. Would a Conjuring of Light count for one of the challenges? For one of what challenges? Wait. A Conjuring of Light. Isn't that one of the books by V.E. Schwab? Did I spell that right? No, I didn't. Don't ignore me, I can't spell. Isn't that what that is? What am I thinking of? Yeah, okay, it is V.E. Schwab. Sorry, I haven't even read the first one. Yeah, for which readathon? could. I mean, if you find it a spooky setting, or I don't really feel like it fits for any of the other ones, but for Spookathon. I mean, does it have a spooky setting? I don't know. I haven't read it. Does it have a childhood fear of yours in it? I don't know. It wouldn't count for me because I know nothing about it and would need to read the first two. I don't know. If you see what I have for my spooky setting, I think you'll think it's okay. So, okay, so for my actual TBR for the Spookathon, the first one is going to be for the thriller, and it is a book called Cocaine Blues. It's not actually a thriller, it's a mystery, but when you go into it, and when you look at the top shelves, this one, a lot of people stick it under like mystery / thriller or stuff like that. It counts. I promise it does. I'm making it count because I don't read thrillers, so I'm just going to count it and pretend that it is a thriller because this is as thrillery as I'll get. This is the first book in the Franny Fisher series, or Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries if you watch the TV show, which I watched the whole TV show in about a week and love it. So I really want to read this book, and it definitely has orange on the cover. This is kind of like awkward for you guys. I'm sorry. This should be bigger, but I don't know. This is as good as it's gonna get. Okay. Anyway. I'm so good at this, you guys. One of the Londons is kind of creepy. You don't read thriller horror books either. Yeah, see, and that's the thing, is like, I don't get enjoyment out of that. I'm not gonna like force myself to pick up one that I'm not gonna enjoy. This is a book that I really want to read, and it's a mystery, and I usually don't read a ton of mysteries, but this is about as close as I'll get, because I did love the TV show with a passion. I adored it. Like I said, I watched all like 30-something episodes that are each an hour long in a little over a week. And my heart is kind of broken that it's over and that I don't have any more to watch from it, so I'm going to start reading the books. There's like 20 books and it's technically still going. She hasn't written a book in like 5 years, but technically I don't think it's over. So anyway, I'm going to add that to my October Readathons. And that also counts for the one that has an orange on the cover, which is nice because it definitely has a very orange cover. There's lots of orange on the cover. So anyway, that's my first official book. It's very short. It's less than 200 pages. Yeah, it's 175 pages. I'm going to listen to it on audio. I think it's like 6 or 7 hours. So I can definitely get that done in a day or two. Basically, all the reading that I'm going to be doing for the readathon is going to be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll see what will happen, but Friday's my day off, so I'll be able to read all day, and then I have Saturday morning, and then technically I have all day Sunday as well, besides church. So that is my first 2 challenges done already. Awesome. And I think I already added that, but it keeps not remembering. So that's my first book. My second book is going to be for, well, I can't spell, you guys. For a spooky word in the title, the Graveyard book, because Graveyard is kind of spooky, and, I mean, I guess, it depends if you find it spooky, but I guess it's a kind of spooky word. I live right next to a graveyard. I can't see it because it's dark, but there's really a graveyard right now, so I guess I'm not, personally don't find it that spooky, but whatever. So the Graveyard book, and then this also counts for a book about a childhood fear of mine, because when I was a kid, I was like terrified, well, not terrified, I really, really, really disliked the dark, And so, like, I'd kind of play a game with myself in my mind that there were, like, ghosts in the light. And so, like, if I went into the dark, then I'd be okay from the ghosts. So, I didn't like the ghosts, but I don't think it wasn't the ghosts that I liked. It was my dislike of the dark, which I psycho myself into being opposite and force myself to go into the dark because my garage terrified me when I was younger. And so I'd turn on the light and then go walk into the dark and they're like, oh, they can't get me because I'm in the dark now. I don't know. So I'm going to count it because it's about like ghost raising a human kid, I believe. And that one is also very short, so I should be able to plow through that. So it counts for 2 challenges as well. And then the only book that I'm not doubling up, technically, okay, the only book I'm not doubling up is Fuzzy Nation by John Scalzi. And I'm counting this for the one with the spooky setting, because, hear me out on this. So you're like, oh, it's science fiction, what's so spooky about that, blah, 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 blah. He works alone for hundreds of miles from Zaracorp's headquarters on planet 178 light years from the corporation's headquarters on Earth. So he's basically alone on an uninhabited planet for the most part. And he does surveying and is in this like giant forest alone. That would be a great horror setup. But it's not a horror book, and it's not particularly scary. It's about cute little fuzzy sapiens. There we go. But it's a creepy setting, because if I was out there doing that alone, I'd be terrified to death. So, I'm gonna count it. I don't care what you say. Anyway, I've seen the Graveyard book on multiple TBRs for Spookathon. I think it's on everyone's TBR who hasn't read it. It just needs to happen for a lot of people, because it's Neil Gaiman, and I feel like everyone wants to read it. So, that's something that I've been meaning to read for a long time, although I don't particularly like Neil Gaiman, so this might be the nail in the coffin for Neil Gaiman, because I haven't read one of his books for a long time, but I didn't love either of the books that I have read by him, so if I don't like this one, then I may not care about reading anything else by him, although I may try American Bob. Your spooky word in the title would be shadow, bright, and burning. I think that's totally fine. I would choose shadow personally, but burning can be creepy depending on the context. So, awesome. Good stuff. Good Omens. And you liked it because of Terry Pratchett. That is one that I would definitely read because I really enjoy Terry Pratchett's writing, so that is one that I would read. But I've read Stardust, which I hated, and it's one that I would have considered trying to reread now as an adult because I read it when I was like 15 maybe. But every book that I've gone back in the past like 3 years or so, I've gone back and reread a bunch of books that I didn't like when I was up to the age of like 16 or so. I've gone back and reread them and like tried to give books a second chance. And I've despised all of them. So I'm like, okay, I should just accept the fact that I had good taste when I was younger and didn't like books even though I don't remember why I don't like them. I didn't like them, so I shouldn't go back and try to see if I'd like them now because I'm just not going to. Unless I have a super big craving to go back and read a book, I'm not going to because that's stupid. So, anyway, there's too many other good books to read that I need to stop going back and rereading books that there is a very, very, very high chance that I'm still going to dislike because I disliked them the first time. So anyway, that's my story about Neil Gaiman. I read Stardust and I hated it, and then I read Coraline and I gave it 3 stars, but it scared the crap out of me. And so I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't dislike it either. I don't know. I'm a big chicken too, so. Anyway, that's my creepy setting for, it's so ridiculous. I'm stretching it a little bit, but I said it to Christopher, and my parents were in the car because my parents are in town. And I said, like, I gave him like the setting of the book, and he's like, okay, yeah, I guess you can I can understand why you'd say that's a creepy setting. And my mom's like, that sounds like Alien, and I'm like, see? So, anyway, so that's my spooky setting. So I've only not doubled up one book, which is Fuzzy Nation. We'll see. I may have to rearrange these, but I think basically what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to read both Fuzzy Nation and Cocaine Blues on Friday, and then Graveyard Book on Saturday, and then Sunday I might be able to choose another book for the next readathon. But if I can't get it all done, then I can just read one per day and read the Graveyard Book on Sunday, and then it will overlap. So it may need to overlap because the first one of the first... Hi Vandalgrim! Hi, I haven't seen you forever! Hello! I'm basically explaining the challenge, the first challenge for the autumn readathon, and it's a gothic / spooky book, and so I may need to make Graveyard Book count for a third challenge for that as well, unless I can get them all of these books read and knock off all the challenges in 2 days, the last 2 days of the readathon, because they're all very short books. They're like all 300 pages or less, or much less. But if I can somehow get it all to fit very nicely, then I'm going to choose a different book for a gothic / spooky book for the autumn readathon. And so the book that I chose is World of Lore, I believe is what it's called. Yes, The World of Lore. And it is by Aaron Mank. Sure. I didn't even mark it as to read yet. Basically, this book is from the podcast. Does it say podcast right here? Soon to be an online streaming series. But it's like a podcast. And I've never actually personally listened to it, but this book came in at my... Well, this is horror. Oh, but it's for a different readathon. That gives me an idea, though. I might be able to make that work somehow. Anyway, hopefully this doesn't terrify the living snot out of me, but it's a book that came into my bookstore and was beautiful, and I saw it and thought it was just absolutely gorgeous, and it just looks so cool, and it has a really cool idea as well. It's like about, like, basically folklore from all over the place. It's good to hear from you too. I'm finally back to YouTube. But it's like about like creatures and monsters and stuff, and like some of them are real things, and then some of them are like just make-believe stories, but some of them are like real stories about things or whatever. So it talks about werewolves and wendigos and poltergeists and vampires and angry elves and vengeful spirits. So I just thought it was really interesting. I put the Graveyard Book on hold from the library, and I hope it comes on time. Oh, are you gonna grab that too? Have you not planned your TBR yet? Because you're like me and planning the day before it starts. Anyway, so the World of Lore, monstrous creatures, it just looked really interesting, and I wanted to try to get better at reading new releases, especially since working at a bookstore. That way I can like recommend new releases. So we're gonna try and make it work, and hopefully it doesn't kill me with fright. You're so funny. You're like, yeah, I'm participating. Haven't planned it at all yet, though. I understand not doing that, though, because when you plan it, then sometimes you're like, ugh, I don't want to read those books anymore. Yeah, so you wait till the last minute. That makes sense. That's a good idea. I sometimes wish I had the willpower to do that because I do not. I get too excited. I'm like, I must plan it right now. And then sometimes it doesn't work out very well when I do that. So I wish I could be like you, but I'm not. I planned all this out today, and that was really good for me. Except for I did plan out most of the Spookathon thing like a week or so ago, but whatever. Anyway. Okay. But then the other thing about not planning it is that if you are a library reader, then you can't get them from the library all the time, and that can be frustrating. Like with one of my ones for the later prompt, I don't have the books that I want. So anyway, my next, the next prompt for the Autumn Readathon is a nonfiction autumnal read. So how she classified it was like, nature writing, or cold location writing, or like a cold feeling memoir, or whatever, or memoir set in a cold location, or whatever, something along those lines. So I'm going to read this book. It'd be so nice if I could spell. I'm pretty sure I just did that again. Okay. Which I also don't have on my TBR for some reason. Hi, Judith. It is a long time no see. I'm sorry. I know I'm the worst. I got some really bad anxiety for a few months there, so I stopped doing everything, including reading and talking to people. I'm sorry. We're talking about readathons, obviously from the title. I'm going over the Autumn Readathon prompts. The first one being a nonfiction autumnal read, and this is definitely set in a cold location. I don't even have it on my TBR. I've had this technically on my TBR since like June, July, August, sometime around there of last year, because Caitlin Doty recommended this book in the first video that I ever watched by her, and I've had an interest in it ever since, and I never added it to my Goodreads for some reason. But basically, it's like talks about the weird things that happened to this group of hikers in the, I don't even know how to say that. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. I'm trying to pronounce it in my head right now, and it's not going very well. But basically, Amanda from Cyborg, oh gosh, what is it? What is her channel name? I'm the worst, I'm sorry. Amanda, what is her channel called? Amanda Center. Okay, good night. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Amanda Center, what did she not? Okay, was she never something else? Amanda Center. But she says, like, hello, fellow cyborgs, just like that. Anyway, good night. You still haven't read it. Yeah, me neither. At least you've had it on your TBR, though. I just completely forgot to put it on. But Amanda recommended to watch Caitlin Doty when I was watching her, like, all her videos. I went back and watched all her videos when I found her over the summer a couple years ago. I found her in, like, May or June, maybe. And then when I got to her video where she recommended watching Caitlin Doty, then I went and watched all Caitlin Doty's videos. All of them. But that was in this apartment, so I know it was after I moved in here that it's been on my TBR. Anyway, point being is that they recommended this book, and I've been wanting to read it ever since, so no, don't do that. Okay. So, Dana, you'll have to read it too then. Maybe you can do the autumn readathon. Oh my gosh, my mouse is flipping out. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so that's going to be my cold location though, because this is definitely in a cold location. 100%. And it's nonfiction. So that works. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so the next prompt is a novel set in a cold location. So it's lots of cold reading, is basically what it is. Cold reading. Come on. Brain work. What was I gonna... I have a list right here. Okay, there it is. And I figure before Christmas, because it's set in a cold location, and since this is happening at Christmas time in the northern hemisphere, that means that it's probably really cold. It doesn't have a good rating, and I really didn't like the first book in the series, but I've heard such great things about this series. No, I do not want to click on this snowman. I've heard such great things about this series, but I did not enjoy the first book at all, but I do want to read it, and it just keeps going and going, and there's probably going to be more books in the series at some point. So, anyway, I really wanted to get to the second book. I'm going to be reading it right before Christmas. I feel like that's perfect, so I'm just going to make it work. Oh no. Okay. Well, good luck with your procedure, and hopefully you take the time to do what makes you feel best, whether that's reading or just watching tons and tons of TV. Where can I find the challenges for the autumn readathon so I can plan that TBR? Yes, it is on Mercedes' YouTube channel. She has one, I think it's just called the Autumn Space Readathon Challenges. Ooh, that was a good one. The Golden Compass is a good one. Ooh. Yes. Oh gosh, why didn't I think of that? You guys are so good at this. I could not think for my life of any cold location books. This was literally like Ditch Resort. Okay, I'm gonna add this to my TBR, but just in case I feel like it, I'll be right back. She's gonna go watch it. Oh no, you're, are you? You're terrible. She's gonna go find it. That's really funny. The Golden Compass is such a good idea. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have planned this in the car. Maybe I should have waited for y'all, because I obviously don't know what I'm doing. Okay. October Readathon. So I've already read the first little bit of this. I've already started it on my own, so I don't have quite as much to finish, even though I only got like 50 pages through. You can never plan anything. Any readathon TBR because CR is too much of a mood reader. Well, that's what... Sorry, excuse my cold, you guys. Well, that's what Livy was saying, is that she's a really big mood reader, and so that she just like plans them like the day before they start, or the day they start, or even then she'll just like plan it as she goes. I love planning out stuff though. Excuse me, I'm sorry you guys, this is kind of disgusting for you to have to listen to, but I honestly sound a lot better than I did a few days ago, so hopefully that's a little bit better. Also, I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to replying to comments on my latest video yet. I've been out of town with no service for 3 days. So, sorry about that, but I will be replying to comments probably on Tuesday or Wednesday when I have a little bit of time too, because my parents are still in town until Tuesday morning, so once they're gone, they're at their hotel right now, and so I have time to do this right now, but once they're gone, then I'll have time to work on stuff. Anyway, tomorrow night I definitely won't though. But anyway, I don't even remember where I was at, but yeah, anyway. Anyway, I don't think I said it enough. The Golden Compass was a really good idea though, and I'll stick that on the list as well because it's definitely a good substitute and something I've been wanting to read. The next prompt for the Autumn Readathon is a historical novel, which technically this one would count, this Cold Location one would count for An Affair Before Christmas, because it's a historical romance, so it's historical fiction. It totally would count, but I'm an overachiever, so like I will double up where I need to if I can, but if I can't, then we'll see what happens. So some of these I can double up if I like end up not being able to finish all the books, and reading 6 different books in a week where I'm working 40 hours, and then just want to have time to relax. I don't know what will happen, but for a different historical novel, I was gonna try to grab the Weed That Strings it will pop up like that. The Hangman's Bag, which is the Flavia de Luce #2, because I really need to get to this book. I read the first one in August last year and loved it. It's actually right here, and I freaking adored the first book. So this is the second book, and it's only 400 pages, and I whizzed through the first one. And this is a mystery, and I normally don't like mysteries, but I love Flavia so much, so I really like to get to this, and so that's why I'm putting it as my option for it. So anyway, we'll see. Some of them may have to get bumped, but that one's going on there, and I'm so excited. And that one counts for another prompt, which is the other reason I specifically chose this, because one of the like bonus prompts, which we're getting into now, is an adult novel with a young female protagonist. So anyone under, I guess, 18 is what she considered to be a young female protagonist. And I was racking my brain, and I could not think of any books. And I'm like, I could cheat and just like change it to any book with a young female protagonist, because then I have like 8 million middle grade books sitting on my shelf over there. But I really wanted to find an adult book, and I'm thinking, and I can't think of anything. And I'm like, Christopher, I turned to him, he's sitting in the car next to me, Christopher, can you think of any books with a young female protagonist that's an adult book? And he repeated to me slowly. He's like, let me think for a second. And within 2 seconds, he's like, you could read the second Flavia de Luce book. And I was like, what a smart cookie I married. So, he's a genius, and I'm definitely going to have to read it. He's so smart. I love him. And he's the one that recommended this series to me, so he's definitely very ready for me to get to it. So, anyway, that is why that book, I'm definitely going to read it for an adult with young female protagonist, so it may have to stand in as the historical novel, and I don't know. Well, I'll see. I may have to move stuff around, but that counts for both of those 2 challenges. And then the last prompt, the last bonus prompt, is for a short story collection. So technically, if we go look at my October Readathons category, technically lore counts, because it's all by one person, but it's a bunch of like short little stories about all these different things. I don't know if he ties them together really well, but or at all, or if they're just completely disconnected, or what. I don't know what he does with them, but they're technically short stories and all about different subjects, even though they're very much all on the same theme. So technically that counts, but I would really like to, if I can, to get to a different book, which should be right here at the very top. Headstrong, 52 Women Who Changed Science and the World. It's very short, again. All of these books are very short. And not even by planning, they all just happen to be very short. Which worked out really great, because then I'm like, I don't feel overwhelmed. The longest book on my list is 10 hours long. So they're all very short. I can do it. I've said very short like 8 million times now. So if I can squeeze in this book, then I will. It'll probably be a book that I get to at the end of the week. But again, if I can't manage to read all the stuff by Sunday morning for the Spookathon, then I'll have to read the entirety of the Graveyard book on Sunday and count it for the spooky book, and then this book will definitely be pushed, like, take over as it, and this one will get bumped off the list. So it all just depends on how things work out. But oh, I didn't want to add this to currently writing a reading series. I wanted to add it to my spooky reads. Okay, so there we go. Those are the 9/technically 10 books that are on my TBR, because Daniel Deronda does not actually count. It will be nice that I'll be getting to some of these books that have been on my list since 2014 now, if I do actually decide to read the Golden Compass over the Christmas one, which actually would be a good idea, because then I can get to An Affair Before Christmas. I can get to closer to actually Christmas. Fancy that. Oh, you had to run to the restroom. I thought you were going to go look at the video. I thought you were abandoning me to go watch Mercedes. How dare you? Which I would be fine with, because Mercedes is awesome. So, anyway, that's my TBR though. I guess I'll recap it once more for the two of you that are left. But for the Autumn Readathon, the Gothic/Spooky book is either going to be World of Lore, or it's either going to be the Graveyard book. The nonfiction autumnal/cold weather writing is going to be Dead Mountains, because that is a very cold book. The novel set in a cold location is either going to be An Affair Before Christmas or The Golden Compass, depending if I can get this from the library. Mostly is probably what it's going to depend on, because I already have the other one checked out, plus I think I own a physical copy of it. Oh, these are audiobooks, by the way. Don't think I'm going to be physically reading anything now. You know me. A historical novel and a novel with a young female protagonist is going to be Flavia Deluce, the weed that strings the hangman's bag. Flavia, I believe, is 12 or 13 in this book. And then the last one is a short story collection, which is either going to be The World of Lore, or it's going to be Headstrong, 52 Women Who Changed Science and the World. It will be World of Lore only, I don't know, it will probably only be World of Lore if I don't end up getting to my creepy book, the Graveyard book, for the Spookathon, and have to like push it in over one day to the last day of the Spookathon, because I'm overlapping them. So if I can't get to it beforehand, then this book is going to get bumped, and I'm going to read this one instead, but otherwise this book may get bumped. It all just matters. You've mostly been... Have you? At work? Have you read anything good recently, Judith? I actually don't have any audiobooks for Spookathon, which is strange for me. I usually have at least one. Yeah, that is weird. Maybe you'll be able to squeeze in an extra one. Just like, cross off that book that you're doubling up and find an audiobook. Instead, like, choose one of the challenges that you're doubling up for and just like squeeze in an audiobook. You totally could. I believe in you. And then, so that's that list, and it's very doable because they're all, like I said, extremely short. I don't think I have the page amount. Sorry, I didn't mean to move that. That was me being dumb. Sorry. If I add in settings, number of pages, the longest book on my TBR, Daniel Deronda technically doesn't count, but I am trying to read that in 3 days, and that's probably not going to happen. But this is the longest book on my TBR at 400 pages, and so is this one. And then everything else is like 350 pages or less, and a lot of these are way, just ridiculously short. So, anyway. you've been listening to Harry Potter again, but you did listen to Brene Brown's latest book a while ago. But Brene's latest book only came out like a month ago. How did you listen? Is that a while ago for you? What is her latest book? What is it? Oh gosh. In the Wilderness? What is it? Some Braving the Wilderness. Isn't that her latest book? Oh, it did come out. It only came out a month ago, you crazy. You're rereading Harry Potter right now, but listening to them this time. You're on book 4. Y'all, the last time I tried to reread Harry Potter, I got to book 4 and I DNF'd it because I got really mad. Because Harry and Ron are terrible. They're the absolute worst scum trash in that book. And I got really mad. So, it seems like forever ago. I'm like, you can't have listened to it because, like, I know you didn't get an advanced copy. I mean, not that you couldn't get an advanced copy, but, like, sorry. I'm sorry. I just didn't know if you were, like, keeping up with your vlog or if you'd ever gotten, like, audio advanced copies. But I was, like, 99% sure you hadn't gotten advanced copies. So I'm like, you can't have read it more than a month ago. None of my friends have marked this as to read, which is crazy. I forgot to mark it as to read, although I do have it on hold from the library right now. I don't know. I just couldn't get through the 4th Harry Potter book. It made me too upset, but maybe I'll be able to read them again at some point. Maybe. Probably not, though. I doubt I will ever reread Harry Potter, unless I'm reading it to a kid. And then I'll just have Chris read it, so. Okay. Oh, Diana just liked my thing. You're funny. She liked my status update on Goodreads of me marking Braving the Wilderness as to read. Nice. Okay. So I guess that's it. I almost chose the Snow Queen as my cold location, but it doesn't happen in a cold location. She's just the Snow Queen. Christopher's up and moving around again. Yeah, I just... Ooh, dear. It's really sad that most of the longest books on my Goodreads I haven't actually read. That's a bit frustrating, and then a lot of them I've, like, disliked a lot. Oh well, that's what happens. I'm thinking that once I'm done with these readathons, because I really wanted to do them, partially for them just being fun, and partially just for supporting the creators, which is something that I've never really thought about with doing readathons before. I mostly just do readathons because I feel like it. But I mean, I don't watch the other people who created the Spookathon. I really should, because I'm sure they're awesome. I just haven't gone to it yet, because there's so many booktubers that I watch, that when I take breaks from booktube, there's only a couple that I do, like, not a couple, but there are, like, the core booktubers that I do watch every video about. But if I'm being active on booktube, there's so many that I watch, and Lala is one of the ones. Actually, the last time I did a live stream, or one of the last times I did a live stream, y'all recommended to me to go watch books of Lala, and you're all like, oh, the way she does her, like, TBR unhaul, Plaza unhaul things are so great, blah blah blah. And I had no idea who she was, and I went and looked her up, and I watched every single one of her Plaza unhauls, and I've watched so many of her videos since, and I adore her. And I haven't gotten to watch the Paige and Shannon yet. I haven't watched them yet, but I really want to. But I love Lala, and I really want to support her by like doing this readathon, and it's just so fun besides, so I'm really excited about doing it. And then in the same vein as that, I really, really like Mercedes. I think she's great, and I'm so happy that she got to 30,000, and this is kind of her way of like celebrating and stuff, and I really want to support Mercedes by doing this readathon. As well as, I just think the prompts are cool, and the first time she read the prompts off, I was like, oh, those sound fun, but I know I personally don't have a ton of things that match them on my list. But I was able to find things that worked, and I'm really excited about that, so anyway. Okay, we'll go look at the video after I watch this. Good! She's awesome. We don't really have similar reading tastes, hardly at all. Honestly, she reads a lot of, oh gosh, what would you call it? What is the word I'm looking for? Just literary fiction, I would call it maybe. She reads stuff more like that though, which I don't. She does like her fantasy though. She just doesn't tend to focus on it. Point being is that we just don't read a lot of the same things. And, I'm not talking about Lala, I'm talking about Mercedes right now, by the way, in case anyone got confused. But Mercedes is just delightful. I think you guys are thinking that I'm talking something else. I'm talking about Mercedes right now because Mercedes is doing the Autumn Readathon for the fact of her reaching 30,000 subscribers, and I just wanted to support her. So when I first heard her say the prompts, I'm like, these exactly match what she personally reads, but it's not anything that I personally read for the most part, and so I tried to have to really think about it, and I really had to work around it and see if I could think of books that fit it, and I did, and I'm really glad about that. Lala definitely does read thrillers and contemporaries. She does not read any fantasy. If I was talking about Lala, no, she does not read any fantasy, pretty much, if she can help it. It's not her genre, but anyway. I really love them both, point being, and I just wanted to support them by participating. So, anyway, I guess that's it for this live show, I suppose. It was very long and rambly, which I knew it would be, but it was kind of fun just to chat with y'all and catch up with y'all. Again, I've been doing reading vlogs a little bit, so I should have one going up this week of that, and then I'm going to be vlogging my reads for these two readathons, probably in one long vlog, especially since there's that day of overlap. And then after the readathons, I think I'm going to take time to start choosing a book off of my currently reading shelf on Goodreads and just choose one book and try to finish it and read other things with it and in between, but just try to get all the books off of my currently reading shelf, because there's a bunch of like 500, 600 to like 1,000 page books that are currently reading on there that I haven't touched in a few months or a year or even longer in some cases. So that's going to be my goal, and I don't want Daniel Duranda to turn into one of these, so Daniel Duranda is probably going to be the first one that I finish after the readathons are over, because I doubt I'll be able to finish it by Thursday. We'll see though. I'm about 230 pages in right now, so we'll see. We'll see what I can do, but yeah. I'm not going to do nonfiction November. I want to, for the fact that, again, I like the people who are creating nonfiction November, and I think it's such a cool idea. I think Olive is awesome, and, oh, I don't remember the other girl's name, because I don't watch her as much, but I do like Olive a lot, and I like watching all her videos. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, I just haven't had time to go watch the other person who's creating it. I do want to do it for the fact of that, but I've been reading a lot of nonfiction lately that I'm not really going to focus on doing nonfiction because I've already been reading so much, and I already have the desire to keep reading so much, that really what I'm going to be focusing on is getting some of these books crossed off my list, these big books crossed off my list before the end of the year. I'd really like to finish War and Peace. I'd really like to finish Our Mutual Friend. I really want to finish Daniel Deronda. I really want to finish Jonathan Stranger, The Second Round. I really want to finish Warbreaker. I really want to finish Lair of Dreams. I really want to finish The Snow Queen. And then I'll finally have all these like 500, 600, 700, 1,400 page books crossed off my list. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. You have a lot of nonfiction audiobooks. You should totally do it. I think it's such a cool idea. But if you go to like look at what I've recently read, okay, so I haven't read anything since July until the very end of September, but one of the last things I did read was this book, which I really enjoyed. Unmentionable, The Victorian Lady's Guide to Sex, Marriage, and Manners. And then I read a nonfiction, I mean not nonfiction, I read a historical fiction that I DNF'd because it was trash. And then these are all the books that I've read in the past couple weeks. Stiff nonfiction, Miss Peregrine's I DNF, How to Be Tutor nonfiction, The Art of the English Murder nonfiction, and then I'm currently working on a few other books that aren't on my currently reading shelf that I just haven't marked on Goodreads yet. But I've been absolutely adoring reading nonfiction lately, and it's what I'm in the mood to read. And because I'm in the mood to read nonfiction, I'm not doing nonfiction November, which is really backwards. But I'm going to focus on trying to get some of the really big books crossed off of my currently reading shelf so I can feel like fresh when going into January, because I've had a lot of those books on my currently reading since January, which is just a lot of no. I think my little light reading rack is up with her. You should read nonfiction, Libby. It's so great. I don't know. I guess I've been fortunate that I've never really found nonfiction to be dull. You just really have to read good nonfiction, and then it's really fascinating and interesting. And, I mean, if you like Tudor England, I definitely recommend it. This was like a 4.5 star book for me. Loved it. How to Be Tudor by Ruth Goodman. If you don't mind physically reading books, she has one called How to Be a Victorian as well, which is, I'm sure, just as amazing. But yeah, if you like that's very true. If you like the topics, then read the books about the topics. Highly, yes, that's a great way to put it, but like, I've been reading things that have been interesting me lately. I read this book about like Victorian manners and stuff, and it was really enjoyable and funny, but also like very difficult to read because the subject matter is hard to read because of the crap that they had to go through. But I've been really interested in like science lately, and so reading stuff about like what happens to cadavers was really interesting to me. This one was amazing. And then The Art of the English Murder, I just saw it at my bookstore, and I picked it up, and I really enjoyed it. The only thing is, I wouldn't recommend this book unless you don't mind being spoiled for certain things, because they spoil some Sherlock Holmes, actually quite a bit of Sherlock Holmes. They spoil a few Agatha Christie's. They spoil some Alfred Hitchcock. They spoil some, oh gosh, Lord Peter Wimsey, whoever wrote those books. They spoil some Dickens. They spoil, like, Bleak House. They spoil, maybe one other Dickens. I'm not sure. I don't remember. They spoil, oh gosh, it's not Mrs. Chatterley's Lover. There's, like, another book by an author, there's another book that I've been interested in. I don't remember the author's name or the book's title, but they spoiled another book that I was interested in. They spoiled both The Woman in White and The Moonstone. Basically, this book is just them spoiling a ton of books. Thankfully, I had read or watched most of them. But some of them I hadn't, and I was kind of annoyed that I got spoiled on them. So, anyway. I'd recommend this if this topic sounds interesting to you, because it was very interesting. But that's why I rated it 3 stars, because I was just so frustrated. I was like, why did this spoil me on so much stuff? Anyway. You read a lot about languages and linguistics. But you love it. See, that sounds so boring to me. Sorry, Judith. Didn't it already come out? I know one came out about Laura Ingalls on like the 22nd of last month. You should read you should read the books. They're so good. Way better than the TV show in my opinion. My favorite book that I read last year was Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Crematory by Caitlin Doty. I love that. It was amazing. One that I'm reading right now is, I think this is what it's called. Pirate Woman. Yeah. The Princesses, Prostitutes, and Privateers Who Ruled the Seven Seas. I'm not going to mark it as currently reading right now because I haven't picked it up in a little bit, but I read the prologue and the first chapter maybe, and I really liked it. And then another one, From Here to Eternity by Caitlin Doty. Traveling the World to Find the Good Death is really interesting, and I'm reading that right now. And I don't know what else is on my list. I already filmed another. I filmed a non-fiction. What is it called? Try a chapter tag. So that will be coming soon. You guys can see. But if you want to hear about some non-fiction that I was interested in trying, but anyway, non-fiction's so great, and I feel like it's such a great place to turn to when you haven't been reading for a while, because then your head is very empty and clean, and so you can just kind of like absorb them and enjoy it. It's almost cleansing my palate to get back into reading. Fairy Files. Okay, I haven't heard of that. I'll look that up, because I know a Laura Ingalls one did just come out last month. I don't remember what it's called, though. Prairie Fires by... Who is it by? Let's look at publication. There we go. I found it. I will mark that as want to read. Oh, look! An extremely funny travelogue and a deeply moving book about what death means to something. Means to us, maybe. Frasier. Okay. Frasier. Oh my gosh. Well, here to eternity. What death means to us all. Yay. I love Caitlin Doty. I'm so excited. She's being advertised. Okay. You can't buy any books right now. Well, that's what the library's for. I guess, I don't know. I want to find which book just came out last month, because I wish you could sort this by like publication date, but there's only so many results, so I'm sure I can find it. How about I just go like this? 2017. Nope, it's not on this page. Control find. There we go. Nope, that's the one that you were talking about. Not on this page. And watch, her name's not even going to be in it. Not on this page. I'll be able to find it the second I walk into the bookstore, but I'm not at the bookstore right now, so. You're cut off since you just went to the library and bought 64 books. I bought 2 books and everything. That's so good for you, Judith. Yay! You bought none. That's really cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've been bad about buying books as well, so I'm not. Oh, this is the book I was talking about. I'm not one to judge. I just think it's awesome that you bought that many, and that's why you're cutting yourself off. I think that's really funny. Christopher and I just added probably over 100 books. Well, yes, not probably. We just added over 100 books to our shelves last week. So, I mean, we didn't buy them all last week. They'd been stocking up since before August, but there were a lot of books that we had to scan into our phones and then put and all this stuff, and it was ridiculous. Anyway, a must-read companion to the Little House books. 2017 is the 150th anniversary of Laura Ingalls Wilder's birthday. The Beloved Little House series tells us blah 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 blah. We don't care. I mean, we do care, but you don't want to hear me read it. Follow the wagon trail of the series, starting in the Wisconsin setting of Little House in the Big Woods, to the Dakotas, and finally to Missouri. Throughout, you'll learn details about Wilder's life and inspiration, discover how to visit the real places today, and even learn to grow the plants and vegetables featured in the story. It came out on the 20th, not the 22nd. Oh, that's so bad. Anyway, I can mark it up to read now. I bought 100 in the spring library. See, I wish I had a good library sale close by, because I really don't. And not anymore. So, pretty much just when we go to, like, the book barn, when we buy a bunch of books. Yeah, you just bought other things, not books. Well, whatever, fine, Judith. Not good job, then. Okay, so you've already read that. Well, fine. Bully for you, I guess. Sorry. I was just like, wait, there's one that came out last month. Is that the one you're talking about? No, I shouldn't have questioned you. I'm sorry. You should definitely, you, meaning Libby, you should definitely check out some nonfiction, though. I'm trying to think of some of the first nonfiction I, like, read, but I'm not sure. You were lucky enough to get an art of that, too. Okay, that's really cool. That's awesome. One that I'm really interested in right now, it has nothing to do with Laura Ingalls, but Bad Enchantment by Ross King. The paperback just came out, and it's really pretty. Because, yeah, this came out over a year ago, but the paperback just came out on September 12th. And it's about Monet, and it just looks so beautiful and really interesting, so that's one I'm definitely going to be picking up soon, for sure. So, yeah. Anyway, there's so many books that I want to get to. But nonfiction, I don't know, I've been extra inspired to read it at my bookstore as well, because they just don't have a good fiction selection at all, in my opinion. It's deplorable, actually. And so, walking through, I'm not really inspired to pick up a lot of the fiction books that they have, because a lot of them just aren't good. But when I walk through the nonfiction sections, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks good, I'm interested in that, So, that's kind of what's been doing it, but a good way to, like, decide if you're interested in a nonfiction book as well. Like, if you have Overdrive, if you go and just like look through the categories on there and just try to see if there's like on the subjects, if there's any subjects that sound interesting, and then click on them and just see if any of them look good, and then you can just check them out. Or go to your library and just walk through the nonfiction sections and see if anything looks good, and just like take home like one or two and then try them, and then if you don't like them, bring them home and try a different subject or whatever. But it's all I've really been interested in, and that's what's motivated me to start reading again, is that I was like, okay, I want to read this nonfiction book. I've been thinking about it a lot. I'm just going to pick it up and do it. Anyway, you haven't bought any 3DS games, so that is good. Good job for that. Oh, you had to special order the nonfiction you wanted. See, it's kind of opposite for me at my bookstore, is that there's so much nonfiction that I'm like interested in that it's almost overwhelming sometimes, but the fiction I walk through and I'm like, that's not that great. The science section, it's kind of like science and nature section at my bookstore is the one that interests me the most, but there is a women's social studies or a sociology women's studies section, and I'm interested in a lot of books in there, and then also a few of the biography books. It depends who it's about, obviously. There's quite a few biography books that I'm interested in, and those are basically my hardest hitters when I'm walking through. A lot of the art books that look really great as well, though, I must say. So, anyway. Awesome stuff, though. Nonfiction is the best. Steve Donahue talks about a bunch of different nonfiction books as well. If you want to get an idea of newer nonfiction books that you might be interested in, if you just watch his TBR BY, there is a space in between that, to be read by you per month. That's a good place to start as well, because he will recommend fiction and nonfiction coming out each month that he thinks that you should read, that he's already read, because he gets arcs of them. And he'll recommend stuff as well. Something else I do want to get to is I'd really love to read the Best American short stories, but they don't come on audio, and so I'd have to physically read them. These are not necessarily nonfiction. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Best American travel writing, non-required reading, Best American science fiction short stories, Best American mystery stories, Best American whatever. All the Best American books look really interesting to me. I'm just not a huge short story reader. So, yeah. I don't want to like physically buy a book and then be like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna get to that. When it says that it's by Stephen King and by Bill Bryson and by Dave Eggers and stuff, it's not actually by them, it's just edited by them. But I really want to read those. I've never really read any travel writing. That's something I definitely need to get to. You agree with Steve's channel, he gets some great books sent to him. Yeah, he really does. And I don't watch a lot of his videos just because he posts so many. But I do really, especially like watching the To Be Read BY by you, because it gives you an idea of what's coming out, what to look forward to, which I mean I already see because I work in the bookstore, but it lets me know that he thinks they're good, and then I don't know, it gives you like an idea, which is good. So anyway, I recommend that if you want to get an idea. And he reads everything as well, so that's another thing, is that you won't just get like recommended a couple genres that he's interested in. Since he reads everything, he'll recommend anything that's good. Like he's recommended one about like Muhammad Ali, which I couldn't care 2 cents about him, or reading a book about him, because it's not my taste. but it's cool to know that that is a good, because we got it in the bookstore, and so now I'll know that I can recommend that to like customers and say like, oh, it's supposed to be really good. It's a new like biography about him and stuff. So anyway, whew, and my throat is killing me. So anyway, once I read some more nonfiction, I'll have to do some recommendations for nonfiction books, but it's basically all I've been reading lately. Hi, Keisha! You came at just the wrong spot. I was about to wrap it up, but hello. Welcome. I don't remember who all recommended Lala. I feel like you recommended me watching Lala as well, but if you did, thanks. I've been watching lots of books with Lala. And I feel like you were one of the ones who was like, yeah, go watch books with Lala. Anyway. That was kind of random, but I felt like you were. Anyway, we're talking about nonfiction books and how awesome they are. But I think I'm going to wrap this up right here because, better late than never. Because I have a cough and my throat is kind of going, and I have to work tomorrow morning, and I should get some sleep, and I have to go to the bathroom, so, yeah, fun stuff like that, but nonfiction's the best, and I recommend picking it up. Good night. I will hopefully have a video up on Wednesday or Thursday, so look forward to that, and I will be replying to comments on my most recent video as soon as possible. So thank you all for hanging out with me. Y'all are awesome and amazing and the best ever. Thanks for putting up with my sporadicness because y'all are great. So anyway, good night. I will see you very shortly. And I also need to figure out how to end this broadcast. I don't remember.